There's three teams they haven't talked about. It's kind of hard to make a case for them to even be remotely competitive this year. Orlando, Charlotte, and Indiana. I'm someone who subscribes to the belief that Indiana, I wore my TJ McConnell Pacers jersey for this podcast. I think the Pacers have a lot of talent. I just think they're going to everyone's talking about a Buddy Hield, Miles Turner package deal to maybe get some more picks for Indiana. And if and when that happens, the Pacers are probably the worst team in the Eastern Conference. As currently constructed, I kind of like them as just as frisky. Like, as we said, they're probably going to be bad, but there's a lot of talent across the entire league. So I think they could be frisky. I love Halliburton, but I even like some of these like bench guys they have, Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, TJ, but at the end of the day, they're not going to make an impact. Charlotte, I don't know where they're going. They feel directionless. They brought Steve Clifford back to coach an offensive based team when he's a defensive specialist. I think that's a terrible, terrible move. And Orlando, I'm high on them. I just don't think they're ready yet. What do you guys say about this group?
Yeah, there's a lot of just I have questions about the Magic.
Yeah.
They have a lot of young players.
Yeah.
And you can't play at everybody. Like,
yep.
Look at the guards. You have Fultz, Suggs, Cole Anthony, and RJ Hampton. RJ Hampton's obviously the odd man out there, but he'll probably still find a way to get minutes. Mm-hmm. Wings, you're looking at Wagner, you're looking at Isaac, just added Banchero.
Was Isaac playing? Like, he's in the Ben Simmons zone, man. He might be worse than Ben Simmons in terms of like, what are we getting from this guy?
He writes books, I think, right?
Yeah, books about his standing for the anthem. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he'll write about that. He'll end up on Turning Point USA at some point.
Yeah.
No, they have a lot of young players, nothing to show for it. I like Paolo. I think Paolo can be really good, and he showed out in summer league. Preseason has not been his first preseason game. Didn't treat him well. Mm-hmm. I'll say that, but I think they have a lot of interesting pieces. I don't think all of them are going to pan out. I already think Fultz is too old for this team.
Really? I'm excited for Fultz. I am good last year at the end.
I'm excited, but I think that he is almost too good right now.
Yeah.
As a bench guy, I think he's a bench point guard for most teams that are in the upper echelon, except maybe like the Heat.
I would love to see Fultz go play defense for a good team. Like, I would love him to get traded.
Yeah, I think Fultz would be great on a team that could really use him. I don't think the Magic do. I think they're going to stick with Suggs and Anthony for the future. Mm-hmm. Do with that as you will, but they have too many young guys. Mm-hmm. And what do we do about a guy like Terrence Ross? He's a veteran, and people like him, but what do we do with him?
I didn't understand the decision to re-sign Gary Harris either. I actually kind of wanted him to come to the Sixers. I thought he would have been a good fit. What is he going to do for Orlando? Andrew, what do you think about Orlando? Do you have any excitement whatsoever about them?
My biggest thing is like they have three centers in their rotation.
That's a great point. Why did they re-sign Bamba either?
Yeah,
because of the song. They get royalties on that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, I mean, I guess Mo Wagner is technically a center. I mean, I guess you could play the 4 too, but Bamba, and then you have Wendell Carter, right? So like those three, there's just too much going on. Like Joe said, how do you can't play everyone, right? I guess they're okay with losing, which I get. It'd be kind of funny if they drafted Victor and they just had all 4 of them. It'd be like a Knicks situation where the Knicks decided to sign like 4 power forwards in one off season.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it. It's almost like they're treating their entire season as tryouts, like high school basketball tryouts, rather than trying to win games, which is fine to an extent, but that has to be frustrating as a Magic fan. Just you've seen all of these guys play at least either for you or for someone else. So like, just pick, right?
Yeah, why is Paolo like? I didn't write their whole roster down, only the guys I thought were like important. But why is the only rookie Paolo? Maybe I'm missing someone, but I feel like where's the new blood? Like Ross, Bamba, even Fultz, like Joe was saying, maybe they could get rid of Gary Harris, as I mentioned. Bull feels like a waste of time. I feel like, and Isaac, like, I don't think any of these guys have a role on this future for this team. I love what the Pistons did. The Magic, I like the Paolo pick. I like Franz, but the rest of it leaves me kind of cold. It doesn't make sense. How do they have too many point guards and too many centers? Like, that's just so strange to me. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from them. I mean, before we wrap up, do you guys even want to talk about the Pacers and Hornets? Like, I don't really want to, but you can weigh in if you want.
The Halliburton Wembanyama pairing is going to be
I'm so excited if that happens.
That's going to be pretty good.
For the Pacers. Yeah.
Just trade Turner and Hield. Just do it. Like,
right.
I don't know if it's the Lakers that are messing this up or if it's the Pacers. I don't know who's preventing this from happening.
Yeah.
But this team is too bad to have guys who contribute meaningful minutes play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just move on. I get that. Like, isn't Hield like 30 or something like that?
Yes. He was 24 when he got drafted. Yeah.
I was going to say he was an older player when he got drafted, and Turner has been playing for a while now, so it's not like he's a youngish guy. And I get you had to get Hield to get Halliburton, but just pull the plug. Like, I feel bad for Rick Carlisle. Like, he's such an offensive guru. Like, to go from coaching Luka to now having to rebuild a roster, it's sad. But if you have the chance to get possibly the best prospect ever, you do it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I agree. Just gut it. Like, put TJ up, bring TJ back to the Sixers.
Please.
I don't care if we already have a lot of guards. Just bring them in just for the sake of it. But Indiana just. Because look at Indiana's track record. They've always been a team that like tries, and they always end up outside right at the fringe of the lottery, getting like what's the scraps of the top prospects. Just fully commit. Get Wembanyama. If you get Scoot, you can make him work between him and Halliburton. But just pull the plug. Like, it's just for all of us, please.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, as far as Charlotte goes, I mean, I'm a huge LaMelo Ball fan. I think he's an incredible player, and I think he's one of the best passers in the NBA. I don't think that's like a controversial take or anything, but I don't know. They're similar to, they're one of those teams that just really didn't do anything, right? I mean, I would argue they got worse because of the whole, I mean, I have no idea what's happening with Miles Bridges and stuff like that. Hopefully he's punished severely for what he did, but I would argue they got worse, and I mean, fired their coach with no, like you said, no clear direction for what they're doing. And I mean, the biggest signing they had seems to be LiAngelo, who was terrible in preseason or whatever, whenever he played. That triple three he had was one of the worst shots I've ever seen in my entire life. And I like LiAngelo. So I don't know what they're doing either. It's just the bottom of the East is now that we're talking about it like in depth, it's worse than I thought it was.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of realizing that. I actually thought I was actually pro Orlando. Like, before I did the prep for this, I was like, oh, they had a nice offseason. Like, no, they didn't. They're directionless for the most part. Paolo and Franz are all they have. And yeah, Charlotte, like, I'm a Steve Clifford guy. I was an advocate for him in both former jobs he was having. But why? Like, Michael Jordan is a terrible owner. Like, why would you bring Steve Clifford back? Look at Charlotte's roster. Like, their starting five is LaMelo, Terry, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, and then either Mark Williams wins the job or Mason Plumlee, who is just not a starter, is going to be back in there. No one's playing defense. And Steve Clifford is a defensive first coach. You move to the bench, Kelly Oubre, James Bouknight, Nick Richards. Like, these are not defenders. Only Jalen McDaniels has a defensive profile to me. Caleb Martin or Cody Martin, maybe. Like, those aren't real guys. Those are bench players. Like, this team's going to stink.
The question I had is, like, what's happening with Bouknight and Kai Jones? Like,
they didn't play at all last year.
These were two guys that were both lottery prospects. You got Bouknight. You somehow managed to get Kai Jones with your second pick in the first round.
Yeah, I was so high on that pick.
Yeah. Those were both great picks. Even if like Bouknight might not be like the best complementary player to LaMelo, He's still a spark plug off the bench. Kai Jones is a high athletic finisher who probably would work well with a guy like LaMelo. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert, but who knows? But yeah, like they're a team that has no identity now outside of LaMelo, and they're expecting so much from a guy who LaMelo's great. I love LaMelo. He's a great playmaker, but if you don't have pieces around them, then what's he going to do? You expect Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier to be your second and third best options. You're not going to go anywhere at this point. So for all I know, the Hornets could take the 14th or 15th seed.
That's not like Indiana. If they weirdly keep Turner and Hield, I think they're better than Charlotte. Like Rick Carlisle is a good coach. Rick Carlisle is a proven winner. Like at least on a certain level, he can win at least 40 plus games. And I don't think he'll do that with the Indiana Pacers, but he could keep them feisty. I don't know.
Where did they feisty?